Hi, and welcome to the Content Marketing Lounge podcast. My name is Nathan Collier. I am your host. I am also the founder and admin of the Content Marketing Lounge community. Please check the links attached to this episode to find where we're at. You can find us on Facebook. You can also find our premium community out on School. The Content Marketing Lounge exists to be a place for professional content marketers, content creators, content writers, people who are trying to stay relevant in this crazy new world that has been massively disrupted by AI. It has been almost 3 years, not quite, but almost 3 years since I published an episode here on the Content Marketing Lounge podcast. It was August of 2022 when I published an episode with my good friend James Thompson about sales. I love that kind of episode. I love the interviews, and I expect and intend to do lots more interviews here in the coming weeks and months. But I think it's a really unique time, and I wanted to explain why I'm bringing back both the Content Marketing Lounge as something that I'm focused on, but also as the podcast, as a piece to it. Things are changing. I don't know how to say this other than things are changing massively. And I'll give you just 2 quick stories just from today. So today I opened up my LinkedIn and I'm going through all of the people who engage with my content, which is just, it's a normal best practice, right? Anybody who's engaged with my content, I usually reach out to them and send them a connection request and just thank them for engaging with my post. But as I was kind of going through the feed, I saw yet another of many copywriters who are talking about just losing clients. So this guy was a particularly accomplished one. He was talking about how he woke up this morning and had lost $1,000 a month retainer client, somebody that he had for years, somebody that he had tons of tracked conversions for, directly attributing people who've purchased his stuff or purchased their stuff based on the work that he's done for them. And as of this morning, he's out because that company has decided that the $8,000 that it's paying him isn't worth the cost when they can get something, maybe of the same quality, maybe not of the same quality. It's hard to know from an AI tool, which is the direction that they're going to go forwards. I keep seeing the story again and again and again. And honestly, it feels that we've had a couple of times like this in the world of content marketing. One of them was right after COVID hit, so March of 2020. And then if you go back to the era of kind of 2013, 2014, 2015. There were a lot of people in that time period who were SEO content specialists who were losing clients left and right because Penguin and Panda hit right kind of during that sort of 2011 all the way up till 2015 and beyond, where Google made a bunch of updates over a period of about 5 years that just crushed everything that had worked in the past based on SEO. And so the people who are doing those kinds of things, the people who are putting white text on white pages to sort of hack the Google algorithm to up their keyword density, or people who are spinning articles to get backlinks, none of that stuff worked anymore. And that was a tough time for the people who were doing that kind of thing because they had developed an expertise and built the client base, and all of a sudden it just sort of all got wiped away in one fell swoop. So, the one in 2020 was one a little bit different where the environment that we were in changed, and then companies just they reacted with fear and shut down a lot of their freelance spending, and that recovered. That recovered toward the end of 2020 and moving into 2021 to where that was a period where you get clients and you get jobs. And so now we're into a period where people who do content professionally, it's tough. It's tough in the streets right now. And so I think that now is a period of time where content marketers, if you take this profession seriously, you have to adjust to what's happening in the market, or else I'm sorry to say it, but you're going to be left behind. And as much as I hate to say it, as far as I could tell, the market is kind of split into 2 groups. There's the AI bros who are just sort of peddling AI slop, which looks a lot like what was happening in sort of the 2015, 2016 phase, where it was just a lot of crappy SEO optimized articles. And then there's the AI naysayers who are saying that we shouldn't adjust and we shouldn't use AI. I'm not of either camp. I don't think either camp is right. I think that the people who are completely outsourcing their brains and their writing talent to AI are going to be people who in the long term are going to lose. AI by itself without the expertise of a person can't do anything unique or meaningful on its own. It by definition gives you very average content. And so that's the sort of long-term path of somebody if you only rely on an AI tool. But if you don't use an AI tool, then that means that you're using antiquated tools and antiquated processes that could be done much more efficiently much quicker in a much more productive way. And so I just don't know that you're going to be able to survive in the world moving forward without having some mastery of these AI tools. And so I have decided myself to really lean in. I'm in the process of training a ghostwriter for myself using a ChatGPT project. That's something I'll be sharing the step-by-step process for how I'm doing that in the Content Marketing Lounge training, which will be over on the school side of the community. So if you want to see that, that's the place to be for those kinds of things. But I'll give you this sort of second story from today, which is one I just posted about on LinkedIn, which is I opened up the Facebook group today. And the Facebook group still gets people who find the Facebook group all the time. And I imagine that will begin to happen more and more. And so the Facebook group will continue to be a sort of free space where people can kind of come in and be introduced to me and my work, but also kind of interact with the community that's been building up there for many years. But man, the first 5 people who today requested to join the community, all 5 of them for the question box where I said, where did you hear about us? Those people, all 5 of them said, some version of ChatGPT, or I was asking an AI tool for recommendations. And that's happening all over, like in industries all over the place. And so that's a fundamental shift in the buying behavior of people who are just going out and buying things. And it's happening across all age groups. I was talking to a friend of mine from a B2B who works in a marketing department for a B2B, a very B2B kind of place where most of the people who buy that particular software they're in their 50s, and they've had customer after customer after customer, or I should say prospect after prospect after prospect, come through and say that they were talking to ChatGPT about evaluating whether or not they should take a look at this particular software. And it's happening. And so that's a fundamental shift in the way people are actually going through the process of deciding to buy something. In the past, they would hear about something from a friend, or that's the sort of dark social thing that we've all kind of become accustomed to in the last 5 or so years. And if they had a need for that thing, that would then lead them to Google, where they would then search for reviews, for product information, for that kind of stuff. And now they're going to ChatGPT. They're not going to Google, right? But ChatGPT is now part of the mix. And I expect that will continue to happen as, more and more as we move through the next 6 or so months. I've had that question, how did you hear about us? That's the self-reported attribution question that you should all have on your intake forms. I've had it there for like almost 10 years now. And the sources have always been the same. It's been Google, it's been searching in Facebook, it's been heard from a friend. Those are kind of the 3 places that people have heard about the Content Marketing Lounge for decades. And really only in the last, I would say 3 to 6 months, and really the last three months in particular, that number of people who are saying they found the group based on ChatGPT has increased dramatically as a percentage of the people who find us. So there's a fundamental shift in the way that we have to play the game of content to capture those people, right? How do we optimize our content such that we get brand mentions inside of ChatGPT or Claude or any of these other tools that people might be using? That's a whole strategy to be learned. And I'm not sure that anybody is very good at that. There's some people who say they're good at it. There's some best practices that are getting thrown around, but there's very little data, if you notice, about how to actually do that correctly. And so we need to learn. We need to learn as a community and as a group. And there aren't any books out there about that. There aren't any trainings out there about that right now. It's so new that we're all kind of just learning as we go. Nobody has 10 years of experience working on optimizing content to get brand mentions in AI. That just isn't a thing. And so that level of competence, we have to ramp up quickly as content marketers. And so for that reason, I think now's the time to really lean back into further developing the Content Marketing Lounge as a community, to give you a place that isn't completely overrun by the AI bros and the AI naysayers, but also a place where I can begin to show you what I'm working on, and hopefully you'll start to show me what you're working on. If that's the kind of thing that you're looking forward to, or that you're looking for and that you think you need in your life, then check out the links attached to this podcast. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. The Content Marketing Lounge is back. The Content Marketing Lounge podcast is back, and we'll do lots more of this kind of stuff moving forward. If you are somebody who has a very interesting story about content marketing, about your career, about something interesting that you're learning, I would love to talk to you. I would love to interview you. Please reach out to me via DM. You can do that on LinkedIn or on Facebook or through school. If you're part of our school community, I'd love to hear from you. Other than that, thank you for listening. I'll talk to you again in 1 week, where we'll have another interview here on the show. Till then, take care of yourself, be good to yourself, and I'll talk to you again very soon.